Hello, hello, hello. How are we today? I was just having a sip of my water. Are we doing good? Are we well? What's happening? This is going to be the second to last live stream of this year. And on Monday, the last live stream, we shall do a little quiz. Last time I brought Grim and Kevin Michael Reed into the audio. I don't even know how to do that again. And they're busy, I'm sure. But I was wondering, maybe in the future, what if I could take you into this show? Would you be willing to speak? How would that be? So like, for example, if there were a Q&A, I could bring you up, not visually, just through the audio, and then you can ask a vocal question, an auditory question, rather a written question. That'd be cool. Hey Rosa, great to have you here. Welcome to the live stream. It's been a bit of a rush day for me today. What do I want? This one. Great to have you here. Hey Judith, welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you today? Hello, hello. Pleased to hear it. Mina is on time. Are you usually on time? Great to have you here. And Michelle as well, welcome. Hey Leah, all the way in Australia. Great to have you here on your Saturday morning. I find it fun trying to remember everyone's little like locations, or try to remember what people have said in the past. Nicknames, pronunciations of names. But I'm doing good, thank you. It's been a bit of, like I said, it's been a bit of a rush day because I'm leaving on Wednesday. I'm leaving on Wednesday to get back to England. I had a good workout. My last training workout. For the rest will be hikes and runs. I'm getting back into the hikes again. Oh, pleased to hear it. Let's see if we can double it, triple it. And hey, Diane. Great to have you here. Someone in the chat today, because I've seen, did something incredibly nice today. If you're happy to let me say, or two people actually, I'm going to see if they're here. But if they're happy for me to say what they did, just say yes for the person who did. Well, I know who did. If it's happy to share. If not, you can remain silent. I want to respect privacy and things like that. I won't necessarily say what it was, but I wanted to say thank you. I haven't had a time to say proper thank you yet, because I've been out. Hey, Cheryl. You know who you are because we spoke on the email. Great to have you here. Mr. C is doing good. He is in the other room. He's in the sun, the last bit of sun of the day. It's like getting dark at 3 o'clock. Even got my light on over here. That's what I was thinking. I know it's be a bit tricky. It'd be kind of cool, like, to have a phone-in show. A phone-in show. I like how you all say hello to each other. Hey, Tanya. Great to have you here. Welcome. I hope you are well. And yeah, I'm doing well. I'm going to be incredibly busy for this weekend. I'm running a great coaching call tomorrow. Then it's all about preparing to go home. And we're doing, like I said, just to recap, we're doing a bit of a festive Christmas holiday quiz on Monday. And the reason being, I know that the holiday season can be kind of tricky for some people. You know, sometimes we can't be with our family. Sometimes we don't have family. And sometimes it's nice just to, you know, get a little bit festive. So on Monday, we're not doing a coaching session. No personal development as such. There's a Q&A, by the way, so feel free to put in questions soon. But I thought it'd be nice, because we did it last year, to spend a bit of time having a bit of fun, if you wanted to. If you want to hang out a little bit. No cheating, no Googling of the answers. But, like I said, I know sometimes this time of year, in fact, it's going to be my grandmother's anniversary of passing on Monday, I believe. So, yeah, that would be nice to have a bit of fun as well. Lighten things up. That is true. Mina did not watch Home Alone, so we challenged her to watch it for the next stream, and she did. Now we're challenging her to watch number 2, I think. Hey, Caroline, great to have you here. Welcome. I'm doing good. All good? Does that mean all good, all good? Regarding what I was saying earlier? Because I'm a bit behind on the chat. Yes. Oops. I like we're all chatting, hanging out, yeah. I'm going to quickly go down to the latest comment. It is nice, and it should be nice to hang out on the Monday. And thank you, that's okay. It's been a while now, as in a few years. Well, I don't know. It's before I went to America, so it's like I should know. I'm terrible with dates, years, but my grandmother hated Christmas. She really disliked it because she had a lot of passings, and I think she actually chose to go because of that, in a fun way. But it is cool. Well, hopefully you can maybe make Monday if you wanted to. And once again, if you're okay, whoever did that absolutely nice thing, go ahead and say yes, because I want to be sure it will. Oh, thank you, Diane. I'm the youngest of 3 boys, so I think she kind of had that, like, she really liked, and plus I wasn't in trouble like my other 2 brothers. They were a bit wild, and I was just shy. But yeah, Monday, we shall be doing a live quiz to ease into the Christmas festive holiday time. But today is a Q&A. Today is a Q&A. They sure are. Although, I don't think she'll be listening. My other grandmother is... Well, my mum was adopted. And that's a real fascinating story because the story is that my, say, non-biological grandmother unfortunately had like a miscarriage. And back then it wasn't as like separate places. So the doctor said, well, just have this other baby, which was my mum. It was like a quick replacement, but it was in the same town. So my mum unknowingly grew up with family members, which she did not know were family members, because it's a very small village. So she's met her sister. They grew up in the same village, but they met up like in their 30s. I remember, must have been 30s, 35. And my mum's uncle, even later, who owned like a pub in this more of a city center, but like within the same thing. So it's real strange. I'll get to this one soon. I love values. I'm so pleased you found it fascinating, the last one. Yes, okay, so Diane was so kind today, and I made a terrible mistake in my busyness of getting things ready, but Diane has kindly contributed for me and my dad and Sarah, although unfortunately I don't think I'll be able to see Sarah, to have like a meal together. How nice is that? How awesome and kind. So I was so pleased. So kind. I could not believe it. So thank you, my friend. I greatly appreciate you. And like I said, transformations are the main thing I love seeing. And that is more than enough. So kind. My love is with you as well, my friend. It can be tricky at times. So hopefully Monday, if you can make Monday, we'll have a bit of a celebration. Yeah, it is really weird. Oh, and I was saying, but we never really had a connection. So she never really went, although being in like the next village over, never really had a connection with us. What we do was go round my father's side, which is a shame, but it is what it is. Okay, I'll get to this other question as well. Have I been favoriting? No. So if you've got questions, just put ideally a little cue, and then the question, and then I'll really know and I won't miss anything. Yeah. But Jace, if that's pronunciation, I'll get to your question. So kind. I feel like we won't talk about that. But what was I gonna say beyond that? Yeah, but it's just a strange family upbringing, because this way back in the day, because based on my memory, my mum's real mum, and this is when I think she was pregnant very young, and back then it was crazy, right? Like, out of wedlock and all those types of things. But there's another sister out there who my mum, the sister she's reconnected with, my Auntie Elaine, have never met before. So there's another sister out there, and we don't know where they are. So the story thickens. And I believe, I'm pretty certain of this, my mum had dinner at her best friend's house, whose, I think, father, so best friend's father was my mum's father. how crazy, like this, because it's a small village and they didn't have all these laws and restrictions. Like I think got to be adopted in different cities to have like a degree of separation. So my side of my mum's side, I don't know any of the heritage really. I don't really know any of that side. I got a 23andMe, and my mum got the Ancestry, but we haven't got too. I can now isolate my mum's sides and my dad's side by looking at mine and my mum's. And also I know my granddad's, my dad's side, because my dad hasn't done it, but my granddad's done that. So I can isolate aspects, but hopefully one day the other sister, if they wanted to, goes on things like Ancestry.com or 23andMe, and there's this like big kind of connection. Maybe science would do just that. Yeah, it's really interesting. And my mum found her other sister by doing one of those old school ads in the newspaper. I think my mum put in the ad going, "Did you da-da-da in this location and have the mother's surname as this?" And then they met up in the local pub, and then they realized they grew up in the exact same place, same village. And they were sisters, but they just didn't know it. And just think how many times they would have passed each other down the road or at school. I don't know if they went to the same schools, but they're only a couple of years apart. But just think, they would be most likely have walked past each other how many times in a small village without realizing they were actually sisters. Hey Med, great to have you here. Welcome. Hope you had a good travel back. I'll be doing the same kind of journey, but from the West Coast to London on Wednesday. I don't think it's too cold. I grew up not knowing my elder sister is my mother. I grew up not knowing my elder sister is my mother. Found out in my 20s, and now we're like mother and daughter. Wow. You hear that a lot, don't you? Well, maybe not a lot, but I've heard lots of stories of that. And I don't know if this is a situation, but sometimes, I mean, we all know probably the story that, say, if our mother got pregnant very young, then the parents assume the parental role. But that's crazy. They're so pleased that you're like mother and daughter now. Thank you for sharing that, Cheryl. My mum never knew her bio dad. I'd loved to meet that side of the family and surprise him as an American relative. Yeah. Have you got a DNA test before? I severely recommend it. I highly recommend it. It's been interesting. Like, there's a percentage of me which is South American, but I would love to know when that was. Like, when did that happen? And also I have a bit of Viking Norwegian as well. Not much. I'm like 95% English. There's like 2% in Scandinavia. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Michelle. Well, hopefully, if you're free, maybe the Monday quiz, we can lighten the mood a little bit. Like I said, I know sometimes it can be harder times, missing family members or not having family members. We can just have a good live stream together and hopefully cheer things up. It worked well last time. Were you there last time, Michelle? My thoughts are with you. Oh, no, I'm not. I always dress in a nice pair of trousers and a top and a jacket this time. Trousers are very comfortable. I'd never wear jeans on a plane. I did the ancestry one. I am everybody. My ancestors were obviously worldly travelers, or wild travelers. That's awesome. And I got my... We'll start in a minute. 21andMe. I got my app here. I'm signing in my granddad's account. Oh, it doesn't recognize my password. I've been locked out. So we won't have a little look. Oh well. So, we are doing a Q&A. If you got any questions, I think I've only got 2 or so far. I've got 2 questions. It could be a short Q&A, we can just chat. But if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. Ah, the Grim is here. Hey, my friend, great to have you here. I briefly saw your latter stream today, but I couldn't say anything because I was on my way out. But I did see the 3 of you playing your game. And I was just saying, Grim, last year we did a Christmas quiz, and you were on it. We got you in the audio. I got 1 more stream to go, and we're doing a Christmas quiz again on Monday. Is it true I'll answer that one now. Is it true that only the Hypnati know a secret handshake? Well, we don't talk about the secret handshakes of secret groups. Who knows? I would know nothing. Why is he called the Grim? That's a good question. So, this is Grimskull. He's a super awesome pixel pushing samurai. He does lots of crazy cool designs for like YouTube channels and himself and clients, and that was his gamer tag. And then one day he was on the chat and I just said, hey, it's the Grim. And then he's affectionately known as the Grim. I have no idea. It sounds cool though. Sounds like a cool secret group. The Hypnati. Not a question, but I was agoraphobic. So here's another quick thing. Just so you know, in England we say agoraphobic, but I know in America you say agoraphobic. So I'm not mispronouncing it, it's just how we say it in England. But not a question, but I was agoraphobic or agoraphobic for 25 years, but last month listened to multiple times of your agoraphobia or agoraphobia, as I would say, hypnotherapy track, and managed to fly 5 hours to go on my honeymoon, so thanks to you. Awesome, my friend, you get one of these. That's awesome, you did great work, listening to it multiple times, putting in the time. That is awesome. Yeah, we're like a supportive group. I wonder one day, you know, they hear like these conspiracy theories and they kind of go, I wonder if Joseph Clark, because there was a guy called George Estabrooks who was a hypnotist, and I've got his book. Should we show his book real quick? Let me get his book. Oh my goodness. I'm messing things up. Let me get his book. Trying to. I do that so you don't awkwardly see me like kind of unwiring. But this is the book. It's a very old book. The book was $3.50, and it goes into the kind of things that he did. But supposedly he was like recruited in the CIA, and I wonder if one day people might go, I wonder if Joseph Clough was doing CIA stuff. Well, that probably wouldn't be allowed, being English. But it's a very, well, I say it's very old. It's the oldest book I own, which is 1957. 1957. So I wonder if one day someone, I think I'll be in a secret group. Maybe. Well, I've never been to Cincinnati, so can't be me. Right, we've only got like 2 questions. It's gonna be like the shortest episode ever. This might not even be a podcast episode anymore. We're just chatting. Oh. If only. I think I'd be 24. My name's Clough. Joseph Clough. How do you spell that? Well, C-L-O-U-G-H. I know it sounds like Clow, Clue, and then suddenly I'm not a double O anything anymore. Any other questions before we get going? Because I need questions. Yeah, that's one of the 2 questions I've got. So that's all in there. So if not, we'll just have a general conversation. We won't even have this an episode. It'll be a private one. I'll be sure to tell him in a week or 2 time. I see him on Boxing Day in England. Have you ever put anyone under a CD model bring bags before they go? Have you ever put anyone under and you have to do multiple bring-ups before they came to? I'll answer that one now. If they've gone so deep into a sleep, it could be a little bit tricky. You've got to be a bit louder. And 1, every muscle gets less and less relaxed. How does your course on... It's actually NLP, but interestingly enough, in France, they call it NPL. So we'll probably do this as an episode, but I'll add that to the queue. Can you talk about letting go of things that don't serve you? What is a good method of hypnosis to help someone let go of things that are deeply ingrained? What happens when you're listening? That's a good one as well. So we've got a few now. Hey, Leah. Yours didn't come through to me. I see it on the chat. You said, is it possible to heal in a toxic environment? I wonder if you just copy and paste that again and just see if it comes through on my chat screen, and then I can star it, and then that's what it'll be easier by memory. Or it'll be easier than memory. So just copy and paste that again. And I won't be mentioning anyone's names as well. Well, for the podcast, I'll bring them up on the screen. Diane, is yours not coming through either? I'm not getting everyone's chats through. Okay, I've got this one now. But you said, are we supposed to be thinking of specific things? Is that in relation to trance? And if so, go ahead and put it again. Just copy and paste if possible, so I can start. Yeah, the thing is just because you went a little bit deep, which is fine. I always say ask your unconscious mind to go to the level it needs to go in order to make the complete wonderful change. Hey Nesta, great to have you here. You're our first Facebooker. Everyone else is on YouTube. Okay, what do you do? What do I do if I come out of Hypnosis Alley? Ooh, good one. I'll lose that one. Well, it'll be Boxing Day in England when I'm back. That's what I've known it as. I know people have different days for different things. How can we feel more comfortable around people? Yeah, we can do that one. Okay, we've got quite a few now, so feel free to keep posting it if you have questions. But we'll go ahead and start to respect your time. So I'm going to turn this one down. It's going to be episode 912. So let's get to it. 3, 2, 1. And keep posting questions if you have them, and I'll just get to them after. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 912. And today we're doing a Q&A. This is actually being broadcasted live on YouTube if you're listening to the future recording of this on the app. And before we went live, I just asked a question. Do people have questions? And I'm going to go through them. It might be a bit of a quick fire of questions, but hopefully it'll be insightful enough that you'll get value, because the thing about questions is that someone may have a question that you really wanted to know the answer to, because there's some real good ones. But secondly, someone may have a question for you that you never knew you had until someone asked it. So questions are always good. So we're going to go ahead and get... Oh, there, I was going to use that one in a second. Sorry, I'll backtrack for those listening to the recording. I just had a question pop up on the screen right there. So let's go ahead into these questions right here. So we've got a great question because we just recently been talking about this when it comes to our beliefs and our values. Are values something that we are born with, or are they learned? That's a great question because I love talking about beliefs and values. I would say typically, we'll include both beliefs and values. I know the question was around values, but typically based on sociology is between 0 and 7 years old is when we start to absorb, develop, receive beliefs and values. And some will even say in later years, the first 4 years can be like the beginning makeup of us, like our personality. Now, the good thing is, it doesn't mean we're going to always be that way, but it's good to understand, because when you recognize that maybe the belief or value you assume to be true is not even yours. Maybe you just absorbed it by what someone said or what someone did, and you go, that's why money is bad, because you observe people having bad relationships around money or certain beliefs around money. But it can also go a little bit more interesting than that. And a question to you: do you think beliefs and values can be formulated even earlier? Now that to me is an interesting question. And there have been many studies about this, because let's take the first part, when you're in the womb, you are a being, and let's just say our mother was going through a stressful time. Maybe we may make the decision or belief system that we don't feel safe. Now, isn't that interesting? Maybe we were so young in this biological way that we assumed certain thoughts and feelings and even belief systems and values by just absorbing the environment, because we're still there. We're still consciousness. I don't know when consciousness really starts to be consciously aware, but there have been many studies upon that. Now, some say, and this will be much less much less of a degree, that some say things can be passed down genetically as well. There are so many studies that we can pass down certain, obviously we know about certain biological illnesses that can be activated or not activated, or just activated from the beginning. But they've done lots of studies in the recent years that actually maybe some of the beliefs or some values or just our general so-called condition can be passed down genetically. So why not the beliefs and values to a certain degree? But then you go into the whole, almost like a chicken and the egg of, is it nature or nurture? And I would say typically it's going to be our nature, our environment. Nature or nurture? No, that's nurture, right? So it'd be the nurture of our experience and our environment. And then is it in our nature? Is it in our biology? I would say it's more on the nurture, but absolutely it can be the nature. It could be passed down. It could be more biological, because we know that happens with beliefs, and some people will say that anxiety can be passed down. But the good news is, once again, doesn't have to mean that is all you are ever going to be. Beliefs come and go. Values are able to ascend and descend depending on the environment where they're on or in. So realize, just because you may have assumed them when you're very, very young or in your early formative years, they can change at any given moment. That is why you can change a belief system. Maybe you had a belief system about something when you're young and you just don't believe it anymore. Maybe you had a high value for money and you went go, 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 and then suddenly you're like, I'm on burnout. And then suddenly your values shift to health and wellness, or to have an easier life. So they can change. If they're unconscious, that's where we do more of the deeper work, like hypnosis and all the things that I teach about. So that's a really, really good question. We've got another question here saying, my wife has had 6 miscarriages and struggling with it and drinks a lot. I don't drink and having difficulty coping with her. Could you recommend a hypnosis track of yours to help us? So I'm always trying to be keen of the words that are said in the questions. So if it's to help us, there has to be a mutual decision or independent decision, because we can't change other people. So if you're both like, yeah, I know I'm not handling this well, and I know I'm going to alcohol, and we know why, right? Because it's a change of our emotional state. It can be a change of escapism, ultimately, from the pain that we're going through, or the grief, or how we can internalize that. Sometimes we can feel like a failure and so on. And that's why we can go to, whether it be drugs or alcohol and so on. Now, for example, if your wife and anyone else out there is struggling with just general alcohol, within the app, there is a day and night version for alcohol. And that means you can listen to it in the day and you can listen to it in the evening, or as you go to sleep. And I believe there's a 4-hour session there, which is in the long sleep session or section where you'll find all those sessions which are much longer. I'm very sure that is the case. I would recommend doing that. And on top of that, look, although my track deals with the reasons behind why we might do something like that, because all behaviors we do, we're trying to do for a good reason, I would highly recommend thinking that the alcohol side of things, or any other addiction for other people, is really masking something. So I would highly recommend seeing a professional as well to go through that process. So that means you can not have to mask it with alcohol or say another addiction, and actually move through, whether it be a grieving process or the belief systems around that. And let's just say, look, you only had my work to choose from, because I know not everyone can do that. And I know there's a lot of free help out there as well, like in our local community on a one-to-one. But there may be a time to double up a hypnosis session to deal with that. So whether it be the grief hypnosis sessions I have within the app. So you could ultimately go, well, I'm going to listen to one day or one night, the grief one, or depending what the real issue is, and then the next evening go ahead, or day or night, then use the alcohol one. Or if I'm talking more generally for everyone, if you've got an addiction, choose that hypnosis session of choice. That means you're dealing with more of the underlying thing, and also the behavior which is generated. Remember, alcohol or smoking or drug addiction or any other addiction is a form of escapism. So we just don't want to solve that and then come up with another one, because we haven't dealt with the underlying reasons. So you can reach out to a medical professional to do that, like counseling as well if you wanted to. And also I've got my grieving hypnosis sessions there as well. So lots of love to you, and I really hope that together you can do that. And for yourself, knowing that if you're on the other side in that relationship, is to go, how can I be supportive? And also, what do you need? And you didn't really ask that question, but you could say, or you can ask another follow-up question if you want, how you can remain strong in this time. We could go down different angles there, but any of the hypnosis sessions on being safe, being protected, being stronger, being more resilient. I've got lots on resiliency and holding that space for your partner whilst looking after yourself as well. So we've got a question here. How does my course on NLP, which stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming, so I actually certify people in practitioners and master practitioners. Technically I could do trainers, but I just don't choose to. How does your course on NLP, which is a lot of work I do my work on, as well as hypnosis, what would it do for someone like myself? Well, there's usually going to be two types of people who go into, maybe three, go into NLP trainings. One could be typically to be a practitioner of change, right? So you want to be able to do what I do for a living, technically, whether it be on a one-to-one, wherever you go on the internet and do things, when you're letting go of issues with someone. So some people, which wasn't me, by the way, was to learn to be a practitioner, or to add that skill set if you're already a practitioner, right? So you either want to be a practitioner or you are a practitioner and you just want to add other processes of transformation to complement what you're presently doing. The other set of people can be those who are wanting to do it for just professional development, because you are learning the mindsets, the techniques and processes to manage and maintain your own mind. That means you are in charge, and therefore you don't have to keep on listening to things. And also, if you're doing it for like professional development, it means that you enhance your career, because you learn how to communicate better, your esteem is much better, you just simply transform yourself. So that's really like the two kinds of things. And sometimes it's to work on ourselves, which is kind of like how I went into it. It's not really a training for therapy, but weirdly enough, you practice the processes with someone in an exercise, and then you start to resolve the things that you're going through, because you're also going to be the client in that experience as well. And that's how I went to fall in love with hypnosis and NLP, because I went there just to get my clarity in my professional development. But then I was like, I want to do this for a living. So a lot of people can go for one reason and go out the other side of going, now I actually want to be a practitioner. But it's really the tool and the manual for your own brain that you can use to help with others, help yourself, help your career. So hopefully that helped you there. Can you talk about letting go of things that don't serve you? Of course I can. So what I would say is I heard a great quote from my brother. He did a YouTube conversation interview with two other people. He kind of has his own little podcast as well. And it's interesting because I read about this a while ago, and I think based on memory, it was, oh my goodness, it was the famous person, is it Michelangelo, who did the sculpture? And to create the best sculpture was to chip away and take away everything which was not the person. Where is Michelangelo? I can't remember. Someone may be able to remind me in the chat soon. But to take away everything which is not this person. And it's a great metaphor for transformation, because you're saying, I'm gonna take responsibility to remove everything which is not to my highest good, everything which is not serving me, in other words. So the first step is responsibility, and then the next one is being conscious. What isn't serving you right now? It could be a behavior, it could be a certain people, it could be a job, it could be a belief system, but to get clarity on that, because everything that you do either serves you or maybe doesn't serve you. Some things just maintain us, of course, but it's a good idea and analogy to take away everything which is not of service to me and to get clarity. And that means you become the best possible version of yourself. Now, there are some things you might go, wow, I still enjoy doing that thing, although that thing is not going to be the most best thing for me. And that's okay. You just got to be at peace with that. But if you start to recognize the things in your life, within you and around you, that aren't serving you, you can then make the conscious decision to do something about it. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of the time, the things we go through, we think is fixed in place. My beliefs fixed in place. I'll never get help. I'll never be fixed. I'll never heal. I'm broken. I always just get the relationships I'm given. This is just who I am. I can never have a successful career. These are all things which are generalizations which we perceive to be set in stone, going back to that metaphor. But they're not set in stone. You can chip away at those things and create something beautiful. You get to make that decision. Once you start to become consciously aware of those, you can start to utilize my work, other people's work, my program, whatever it is. But being conscious of what is serving you and what is not serving you. And it goes into what I say about relationships. In my opinion, relationships should all be about lifting up. It's a high value for me. If my relationship is always bringing me down, I don't think that's a relationship. I want friendships, relationships, and people I work with as clients and they become friends is to lift up. Because when we do, we just start to shine together. So think about that idea when it comes to, is this belief lifting me up or is it bringing me down? Is this person lifting me up or are they bringing me down in such a negative way? Is this behavior lifting me up or is it bringing me down? And you'll start to know that if it is like you'll be able to be consciously clear of the congruency of the thing, the person within you, around you, if it's doing that, and that'll make you make a good decision. So, what is a good method in hypnosis to help someone let go of things that are deeply ingrained? To me, it is probably two things, depending. right? The latter is depending. I believe every issue can be let go if you get the necessary learning at an unconscious level. Fundamentally, that is my belief system. The reason being is your unconscious mind is only running what it's running. I don't care how bad it is. It could be addictions, it could be bad relationships, money relationships, self-esteem issues, anxieties, fears, phobia, OCD. It's only doing it for the intention of being good. Like it got a good intention, just the thing that we're doing doesn't match it. On top of that, your unconscious mind's prime directive is protection. Prime directive, the one thing it has to do fundamentally is to protect you. So when you find a process or a technique or a hypnosis session which gears into learning to be safer without the problem, the unconscious mind has to assume that new way because it's doing what it's meant to be doing, right? Protection. So that is the number one thing. Sometimes the latter part is the consistency. For example, people who are using the sleep hypnosis 4-hour one for smoking, some people go, I listened to it twice and it didn't work. However, if you look at all the comments, because I got one on YouTube and it's been downloaded or viewed like 280,000 or so times right now, you'll see the people who are consistent at the listening. Just think how long you've had an issue for. It could be a decade, it could be many decades. And then some people just go, well, I listened to it twice, I'm not gonna do it. So it can take time. Wouldn't it be worth listening to a hypnosis session for 30 nights or 30 days to really start to undo it? To me, that would be a magic, to let go of decades of pain just within 30 days. That seems like a short period of time in the reflection of how long I've had an issue. I'll be willing to do anything. It wouldn't mind it for me if it took a year, if it undid decades. It doesn't have to. It can just take weeks, it can take days, it can take a moment to find that necessary learning. So I'd say learning, finding the real thing which will upgrade the system, and then the secondary part is the consistency. And it could be the consistency of ingraining that new learning, but it also could be the consistency of developing a new strategy because you've had all these past associations and triggers that your unconscious mind is used to. But now we're starting to go, actually, this is safer, let's practice this one. So that's what I go just on a philosophical level or a therapeutic level of how I like to think. Rather like suggestion based, in other words. Like my main program, the applied one, is all about getting to the hidden unconscious root cause, which is another point. Have to get there, then preserve the learnings, and then install the new resources and behaviors to make that new way of being the best way. And then it has to go ahead and do so. Got another great question here. What happens when you're listening to Create Your Day and you fall asleep? So the Create Your Days are actually in the app as well. And they're like 10-minute morning meditations. If you were to fall asleep, I wouldn't be too worried. Your unconscious mind will still do so. But if you are, say, laying down, listening to a Creating Your Day, or even for hypnosis, if you find like you're falling asleep to the hypnosis or that morning meditation, what I suggest is not that the track is wrong, but maybe it's, I'm not putting blame on the person here, but maybe it's aspects of how you're doing it. For example, if you are listening in bed, so you're like laying back and you're so relaxed listening to a morning meditation or a day hypnosis, well, maybe get yourself in a more upright position. And that means you are more likely not to do so. Maybe move from the bed into the living room, because like the bedroom is really known for falling asleep at night. So changing the environment, changing the posture of how you are, and that should solve absolutely everything. So that should solve that question. Is it possible to heal in a toxic environment? It is, but it's a bit harder, right? Because one analogy I had working with a client years and years ago, they were in an abusive relationship. And I gave them a metaphor of like, let's just say I was a doctor or a surgeon and you came to see me with a broken arm. I could put you in the plaster, the splint or whatever it is to be able to protect you again. But if someone else is in your environment just knocking at the plaster, at the which is trying to heal your body, right? Keeping everything locked in place. And if they keep chipping away at it, is that going to promote healing within that broken arm? The chances are no. And it depends on the severity of the chipping away at that caster, plaster, whatever you'd call it, if you've broken your arm. So sometimes it is possible, but it depends on the severity of it. So it is sometimes an idea to be able to remove yourself from the environment as much as possible, or negate aspects of it. Like if you can limit, let's just say you're in a 100% toxic environment. If you can protect your home, as in yourself, and move yourself maybe 50-50, you can start to then build up that power and that healing to eventually make a good decision or be protected in that environment and go, look, that's their stuff. Their toxicity is not going to be mine, right? I know that I can start to make changes. And if you want another metaphor, we can have a lot of, I never use bad language, by the way. I just don't really use it often in life anyway. But sometimes we can use that crap. It doesn't do much, but you can also use it as manure to be able to grow, right? So sometimes it can utilize, you can start to utilize it to inspire yourself to be different. So it really is very subjective. It is harder if you don't have the maybe the confidence to be able to make that change, but realizing it's their stuff and it's not yours, and you can utilize it as a growth, a personal growth, to be able to bloom in a way which is going to be wonderful. And it's okay sometimes to realize you don't need everyone in your life. We didn't choose the family we were born into, but we can choose the family we want to be around, right? Very, very different things. We don't choose who we're born to, but family we're born to, but you get to choose who your family really is. And that family may not be your blood family. It could be a friendship group. It could be a partner. It could be a whole new family, right? It is okay to do that. I think sometimes we get tied into that I've got to be in this environment because they're my family or because my boss is like this. That's not right, because if you are in a family or a relationship and it is negatively, really seriously harming your mental health or physical well-being, because we know stress breaks the chain of good health, then it is our right to protect ourselves. And that means it's okay to move into a new environment. So it is possible, makes it a little bit harder, but it can fuel us to make that change. And it may just keep on doing it consistently. Got a great question here. What do I do if I come out of hypnosis early when listening to a track? Usually I keep listening, and you did it exactly right. That is the answer we're looking for. Because let's just say I'm working with someone one-to-one and there's a big, I don't know, like let's just say a big truck goes by, or the phone goes, their phone goes, or maybe they cough. That doesn't mean they're out of trance fully. So you can just, what I would say in that sense, just go ahead and close your eyes, maybe deepen it a little bit, but I'll just keep on going. So I would mention the same thing to you. If you come out of hypnosis, yeah, you can restart it if you want, but I wouldn't fret about it. I would just close my eyes again and go into it. Because sometimes you may cough, sometimes you might sneeze, right? You might hear a noise. So you're doing it right. Just keep listening. How do you feel? How can we feel more comfortable around people without feeling anxious or suffocated? So how can we feel more comfortable around people without feeling anxious or suffocated? There might be a bit of pre-teaching on this one. There's, for example, in my program, there is a process which I'll talk about, but it's called like second skin. And what that really means is you develop this unconscious, almost like a visualization of being protected. Like wherever you go, you are safe. Like you own your space ultimately. So for everyone else who, let's say not in my program, you start to envisage in your mind, maybe like a visualization or just a rehearsal of being fully protected. In fact, you know what? I've done this before, well, I actually do it for hay fever, even with a physical thing which usually sparks off this biological reaction. That one protective mechanism, that process, which is in the app as well, creates even a physiological change. How crazy is that? I've done studies on this. So definitely works for people as well, but imagine as if you were fully protected, and maybe imagine them saying certain things and it just kind of popping off, bouncing off this thing. If you repeat that enough times, you're pre-teaching your unconscious mind to feel comfortable no matter what the environment, and also you'll feel less suffocated. And the other thing is to realize maybe you don't have to be in that environment all the time, or maybe once again you can start to, a bit like the previous question, you can start to choose who you spend your time with, or the thing that you're doing. Is it lifting you up, bringing you down? The person lifting you up, bringing you down, and then start to incorporate new strategies to deal with that. So that's what I think when it comes to that. And also listen to the hypnosis sessions. We've got one called just recently out about expanding your comfort zone, so that will help because if you're feeling uncomfortable, and also work on like the limiting belief around that if you can. So what belief do you have about yourself which may create the anxiety, and then start to work and solve that one. Great question. Listen to a hypnosis track, letting go of things that don't serve you. Should we think of specific things? Another good question here, well, they're all good. It really depends. And I'll put it in a different context for you, okay? Just to hopefully paint a picture. When it comes to goal setting, I'd like to be specific and then let it go and just generally feel this most overwhelming feeling of what that goal will get me. And what I mean by that, if you get locked into a goal, you may negate something beyond that goal, which is even better. So sometimes I go, I want this or something better. But when I say that, I'm thinking about what it will get me. I was thinking about the specific thing and then thinking about what it will get me, what's that feeling, and then I'm going to try to operate from that feeling in a way, letting it go, knowing it's there, and generating this feeling, which is like an energetic match to the thing that I want. So putting it back to the question of, should I think of specific things or general things? I would do a bit of both. I'd maybe think of a few specific things, but then think about the general feeling of what it would be like without the things which don't serve you, right? What would that give you? What would be the overriding theme or feeling or belief system? And then start to have that as the intention. And then your unconscious mind is going to go, well, this feeling also matches this thing I don't want. This feeling also matches this thing I don't want. So it will start to cipher through not the specific, but more of a general feeling or association to the thing, to no longer want to do that thing or to let go of the thing that no longer serves you. So you can do a bit of a hybrid. The only small thing I'd say, if there's one big thing that was no longer serving you, maybe focus on that one first, and then you never know, the others may disappear. But once that's moved away, you can start to focus on maybe the other things. So I know I'm going a roundabout on that question, but I think it depends. I like a bit of specific and ambiguity, but if you've got one real big thing, I'd probably focus on that one. So it just depends on the situation. Okay. Can you share a unique approach or technique for inducing hypnotic states that goes beyond traditional methods, leading to a more profound subconscious exploration? It's a little bit tricky. So I can't really answer that question because you'd have to be, I know, if you are trained, then we could go deeper into it, but it's more from my training side of things. So it's a little bit hard to answer that one. But ultimately, and the reason why I want to kind of semi-answer it is when you have the desire as the client, say the client has a desire to change, and this goes to the hypnosis sessions. If you have the desire to let go of something or to acquire something and then listen to a hypnosis session where I have the equal desire to let go of that with you, and that's what I put into all my audios, I want you to have freedom. If you can match that, then we have this congruency. We have this I'm trying to think of the right term, but it's an equal cooperative flow, right, between the hypnotist, the hypnotherapist, and the client or the listener. But once you have that, things just happen because your unconscious mind's going to listen, because it's just going to click. You're going to trust the hypnotist or the hypnotherapist, you're in rapport, and then you do that. And then I think, based on my experience, you can do any process. I don't mind about the lightest inductions in the world. I can just say, close your eyes. If the intention's right, we can go straight there. We can do handshake inductions. We can do no word inductions. So it just depends less on the process or the technique. And a lot of practitioners just get focused on techniques. Techniques won't work if you don't have your own stuff sorted or your own self-belief. You got to have so much more and see the absolute transformation in the client or the listener in this case, and that will just shine through at an unconscious level. And the reason being, by the way, is 93% of the communication is unconscious. So if the hypnotist or hypnotherapist is incongruent with their self-belief, then you can give them a process or technique which should technically work and it won't work, or it'll work sometimes and not all the time. So congruency from the hypnotist, having total self-belief in the listener in this case, which I have in you, and then you as the listener going, yes, I'm ready to change. We could do anything and it's going to really work, especially going back to those learnings, and that's going to create the profound state. Okay. So that was the stored questions. I'm going to see if we've got any more, because we're going on for a pretty long time now. So bear with me for those listening. How do we stop complaining when you live in a family that don't stop complaining? That's a tricky one, right? And I've noticed this, especially when people get older or say they're retired, they start to get into complaining mode. And look, I'll say it, my granddad was doing that a little bit. And then what I would do, and even my dad would do as well, is we'd just automatically switch and reframe the subject of what is good happening. And it is hard. The other aspect is, I believe you've got to be the example that you want to see in them. So I try to pen people in with love, or pen people with the state that I want them to be in. And then hopefully they see the example of what can be done. You know, they say like, be the change you want to see in the world from Gandhi, but be the change you want to see in someone. That's my belief system. So I think if we go absolutely looking for the positivity, hopefully that will start to inspire them, because going back to the previous question, 93% of communication is unconscious. So once you start to operate differently, you're not just speaking to them in the words, but your physiology and your tone is hopefully going to override that. Do physical restrictions like breathing issues affect the effectiveness of hypnosis? I don't think so. I've done hypnosis with someone who had a heart attack. So it was with my ex-partner. Her father had a heart attack, and I stayed at the hospital overnight so they could all rest. I was in this real uncomfortable chair, but we were doing like just conversational things, and obviously he was in a heightened state of like fear ultimately, let alone obviously the heart issues, because they just kind of compound upon each other. The fear of dying, or the fear of having a heart attack, and also the heart being the condition. And that was a real insightful thing that you can do hypnosis. And the other thing is, with my grandmother's boyfriend, I went into after he had surgery to remove an aneurysm. I was there in hospital to be able to relax him, heal. Like, I'm not saying I'm healing, like just doing healing hypnosis. And he had like the oxygen mask on and things like that, and he was absolutely fine. In fact, he was in his 80s back then. The nurses said he were healed as quickly as those who are much younger than him in similar operations. And by the way, this was someone who was told that he was not going to live for around 6 to 2 years or something like that because of the aneurysm, and he couldn't have an operation because he was too old, and they just said live out the rest of your life because you won't survive the operation. But we did all the prep work. He changed his physical health. I got him back into doing poetry and writing and things, like regain the passion back for life, and also doing hypnosis. I'm no doctor, but I'm just doing hypnosis when it comes to resolving conflict. And he had the operation. And going back to your question, even with breathing issues like masks and breath and healing, it is absolutely possible. Can hypnosis be a meditation be used in conjunction with each other? Yeah, I mean, I use hypnosis in conjunction to anything positive. I'm never going to throw stones at other therapies. I think even going about I love synchronicities or follow-on questions. I would love the medical community to utilize things like meditation, hypnosis, counseling, psychotherapy. All roads lead to Rome, right? If you've heard that saying. We all come from these different angles. So if it's of benefit, why not team up with different things? I don't just do hypnosis. I do other processes. I don't always talk about them. But yeah, I mean, there are psychotherapists who recommend my hypnosis work. I'm sure there are meditation teachers who would do the exact same thing. And I recommend mindfulness as well. So using in conjunction, absolutely. It just means we get to have more transformation. Okay, so I think we've pretty much done most of the questions. I might have to answer some off the podcast recording, just so I can be a bit more specific and also just respecting your time. And also, maybe if you're listening to a podcast, go to youtube.com/Joseph Clough, subscribe, and then maybe you can get onto one as well. So hopefully I answered a lot of questions or different questions, or maybe you didn't have that question in the beginning, but having heard the question is giving you a bit of insight and how it can apply to you as well. That's why questions are awesome, and that's why you are awesome, and I appreciate you in every way. If you're enjoying my work, go ahead, download the app if you haven't already, freehypnos.app, and if you haven't become a subscriber, become a subscriber. What that does, if you got value from my work, it just means you get more value because you got all the long hypnosis sessions, the day and night ones, the morning meditations, which we've discussed, the custom hypnosis sessions. You can do a playlist, and what that really does, it allows us to keep feeding and making the app better. It is not my main business. This is something that I choose to do and invest in itself. I'm not asking for money at all, by the way. I'm just saying that if you want to support yourself, support others, and help more people, go ahead and maybe subscribe. You don't have to. Maybe just leave a review if you don't want to, or if you cannot afford to. So yeah, go ahead and download the app and use it as much as you like, and I'll keep on developing it anyway. So with that, my friends, I look forward to speaking to you in a future episode. Many thanks and goodbye. Okay, so that was most of the questions. I want to be respectful of time. With yours, Med, I know you asked another one. I can't really answer that as such because, you know, I've got to keep it general for the listener rather than being a practitioner. But maybe sign up to the NLP practitioner if you want. We go deep into it. But I think I got most of them. I think. Because I have to favor them, but then I quickly went back in. Thank you, my friend. So pleased. You enjoyed it? Hey, Mary, great to have you here as well. What a long stream. It's 1:15 the hour. Hey, Jen. Craziness has allowed you to be here. Hopefully good craziness. What a great surprise. We are pretty much finishing. I've gone overtime. And I've got work to do still. I wonder, actually. You're most welcome. Did that answer? Because I'm trying to just do... Stop hitting that mic. Hopefully that helped deliver the answer. I know I've only got a certain amount of time. I sometimes feel I'm being way too quick on these. But hopefully that was enough. If it did answer you, if it didn't answer you, we can go deeper into it on another episode as well. Thank you, Mina. And thank you, Leah. And thank you, Michelle. And thank you, Cheryl, as well. And thank you, Mary. And you got here at the beginning of the Q&A. Oh, that's cool. Ah, the pre-show. Don't worry about that. But you can as well. Sounds good, my friend. Store those up. Everyone here, keep storing questions. And also go to josephclough.info/ABC, and then I take kind of some suggestions there for hypnosis sessions, but maybe I should put another field for like questions. But just say, look, I've got a question for a future podcast episode or a subject, and I'll see if I can do so. May even help me, because 912 episodes, it is hard to keep coming up with different ideas and thoughts and subjects. Can be a little bit tricky sometimes. Thank you, Tanya. Great to have you here. Awesome. You're most welcome. I know you're saying thanks for the answers. What was that? Cause almost like some Cockney rhyming slang. Yeah, they're nice connecting. It was actually a longer one as well. A longer one. I made a real bad decision yesterday. I didn't choose, I kind of forgot to clean my oven without wearing gloves, and the oven cleaner is really toxic, and they've really ruined my hands at the moment. Look. So hopefully they heal up. They're not too painful though. But what a silly mistake. I was like, that's pretty much chemical burns. I like that because I have questions, but then forget to ask. Yeah, write them down or post them at josephclough.info/ABC. Yeah. I wasn't wearing gloves. How silly. How silly of me. It's like, But now it looks like a workman hands rather, because I haven't got a workman or work person kind of job. Mine's more of a computer speaking to a microphone kind of job. But I did do a good job of stopping. I don't need medical assistance. I don't think. We'll see on Monday, the last stream of the year. How about a hypnosis session on Cockney rhyming slang? That'd be hilarious. Well, I haven't got the London accent. I know some. That'd be a good quiz. What is Apple and pears. What does apple and pears mean? Thank you very much, Cheryl. I sure will. I'm gonna get this all edited, set up. Yeah. You too, Michelle. Great to have you here. I haven't actually got aloe vera or arnica. I used to give arnica to Lil Sebastian. Well, that's funny. Some aloe. I should have got that at the store today. Yeah, stairs for me. You go like, oh, I fell down the apple and pears stairs. Yeah, I have used that before. I don't really want to go out. I'll get some tomorrow. It'll be okay for another night. I've been using moisturizer though, and they're not that bad. I was pretty good, all considering. So, if you're talking about that subject, like the gangsters will go, ah, he's brown bread, and that would mean dead. Oh, apple and pears, you got it. Interesting Cockney rhyming slang. Like you go, ah, he hit the Sunday roast. And that'll be in football or soccer. He hit the post. Sunday roast post. Apple and pears stairs. Brown bread dead. So using these rhyming slang to have a different meaning, and it would evade the coppers, the old bill, the police. Supposedly. I think that's where it comes from. Is it? Is that another form? I think there was stuff you should know podcast episode about that. Oh, really? Oh, sorry, I didn't bring up the right comment. So arnica is a cream. It's just this kind of like healing cream. I was thinking, has anyone ever... I don't think it would help at all. It'd probably make it worse. But if you have sunburn, I use something called China gel. I think we may have discussed this before. Would that help, do you think? Or would that just like... Because it's for like sunburn. When you are in England, do you feel like you have an accent, or are you used to having one in America? I do not at all, because I think my accent is my accent. Some might disagree with me. I feel like I have more of an accent having been to England and then come back to America. That's when I'm like, oh, I do really speak a lot differently. So it's more when I've gone back to England for a period of time, had my English environment, then come back to America, and then I go, huh. I do notice the difference in accents. Papaw ointment. Papaw. Well, the China gel is a cooling one. So, we'll stop in a minute. I've got to honestly go. We've been streaming for an hour and 25 minutes. China gel, what does it make up? Can we diagnose myself? It's a topical pain reliever. It has 7 herbs: menthol, camphor, lavender, angelica, ginseng, aloe vera, and witch hazel. So maybe that would work. It's got some aloe vera in it. We'll give it a go. But yeah, it's got the it's very, like, on sunburn, it will make you cold. Oh my goodness. China plate mate. Close them mince pies, eyes, and set. Would that be eyes? We're on a journey. Right royal. Noggin would be the head, but yeah. You're on a roll. Was your hypnotic cockney? Okay, cool. Thank you for that. I'm gonna definitely do that because they're starting to look odd. Okay, my friends, thank you all for being here. I appreciate you all. I will be back on Monday, and on Monday it will be the... If you have good questions, feel free to email me questions about on a Christmas quiz or general weird questions. Otherwise, I'm just going to use ChatGTP. So thank you all for being here. Hit the thumbs up if you haven't already, and join me on Monday for the last stream of 2023 on the next stream. Many thanks and goodbye.